everyone. Derek Johnson with Tatango.com. We are in week 36 of 2020, and these are the text messages from last week. Hopefully you get inspiration, ideas about how to run your own text messaging campaign from these text messages. So first off, where are we getting these text messages? SMSarchives.com. Check it out. I think over 2,500 text messages now have been archived from over 100 plus brands, some of the top brands sending text messages. Definitely go check it out, SMSarchives.com. So let's jump right into it. First one we have is SKIMS. So great use of an MMS message here. As you can see, it's an MMS because it has an image at the top. So SKIMS fits everybody, restocked. Our comfiest, stretchiest, and most loved underwear is back. Don't miss out. Shop now. I do like how they, are giving advice, essentially a call to action. Shop now, and then the link. I do see a lot of brands that they just put the link at the bottom, and you're like, well, what am I doing when I click this link? What do you want me to do? That's a good example right here of a brand giving the call to action, essentially the instruction to the consumer on what to do next, which is shop now. I do like when they also say like, click here to shop now or something like that. And with an MMS message, you get 5,000 characters, unlike an SMS where you get 160 characters. So you can add a lot of content in these messages. So don't feel like you have to skimp. So anyway, it looks good. I like the image too. I think that's Kim Kardashian. I'm not that hip, but it looks like Kim Kardashian. It's interesting to look at the image. I guarantee if you click on that image, you can expand it, figure out kind of what's going on. But it looks interesting. So, I'm pretty sure this appeals to their, target demo. And that's really what matters. That people opt in to receive text messages from your brand, people that like your brand. So kind of who that target demo is. So be sure to kind of cater your messages to those people, which it seems like they've done here. Okay, next one is, and I'm sure I'm pronouncing this right, Hibbett Sports Goods. First off, look, right off the bat, they have the line breaks or the double line breaks. I love that in a message because too many people, they're taking the message and they're just clumping it all together, and it makes it almost impossible to read. So Hibbett, be all in for savings and head to your closest store. Line break. Code get 10 gets you 10% or $10 off, $25 essentially. At stores, I like how they're using the at symbol to kind of make it a little more personal. Store info. So essentially what they're wanting to do here is not shop online. They're wanting people to come into the store and use the code GET10. Also line breaks. If you are telling consumers that you want them to use this in store, the consumer is going to have to pick up their phone and show, the person at the front of the store the coupon code. If you use line breaks, it makes it a lot easier for the employee to look at the message and then type it in. If it's all jumbled in, they're going to be like, well, I can't see that. And then they're going to touch the phone during COVID. Maybe that won't be, optimal, for the consumer. So make it easy for the employee to also see the code. Everything else looks good. Store info, exclusions apply, N95. That's always good to put an end date or an expiration date, because if you don't, then people think it just applies forever and it doesn't put a sense of urgency. So definitely, I would always encourage for every promotion expires in the next 24 hours, even in the next 2 hours, because 90% of text messages are open within 3 minutes. So, you could do, this is a flash sale, in the next, hour or even, 60 minutes maybe, and have a timer. There could just be so many cool things that you can do with SMS, because unlike email, it's not sitting in your inbox, for 24, 48 hours. Okay, next one is Think Crucial. Again, great use of line breaks here. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I do like this though. Kristen, maybe she's a real person, maybe she's not, but it says, hey there, this is Kristen from Think Crucial. I do like when brands do that. Now you got to be on point. You got to pick the right name. Maybe you have to be consistent with the name. Maybe you mix it up every single time. You got to have some kind of strategy with your name. We see this a lot with political. I think they were the first ones to start this. Hey, this is John from XYZ campaign. It makes it seem a little more personal. let's see, use code Labor Day 20 at checkout. Visit us at, so a direct call to action, very easy to understand for all the deals. I like how they're mixing up. So they have the link kind of in the text, so then it says for all the deals. The link doesn't always need to be at the very, very bottom. It doesn't, need to be in a specific place. You can mix it up, and I like that. This one's super interesting. I saw this when they sent me, my team sent me this message. It says, P.S. Let me know if you want me to stop texting you. I've never actually seen this before. Most brands, all brands, will say, text stop to end or end to stop or whatever you want to put in there. I'm not sure if this would suffice for the wireless carriers in terms of kind of a disclosure. I don't think it would, because you have to have the instructions and you have to have the keyword, usually like stop or end, in the message. Interesting though, maybe they're applying some machine learning. This is, again, the cool part about SMS is, even though the technology is 20 years old, people are still kind of pushing the limits and trying new things. Maybe this has, a conversational machine learning type thing going on that, will opt them out. I don't know how the carriers would respond to this kind of thing, if they would count this as, an opt-out kind of instruction in a message, but interesting, and that's what I love about SMS. People are constantly pushing the boundaries. Okay, next one is Anthropology. This one's a very generic, just easy 160 character SMS message. Now, make sure if you are sending an SMS message that looks like this, make sure the next one is 2,000 characters with an image and a GIF, and then maybe go back to the small one. Like, you have to mix it up. It cannot all be just the same exact type of message. The one thing here, though, that is very obvious is line breaks need to be used. Everything is kind of smushed together. Anthropology, ready, set, sale. There would be a line break, extra 40% off, hundreds of new fresh cuts, line break. So you're separating it out. You're making it easy for people to read. I guarantee if you go to Anthropology, you sign up for their email marketing list, they don't just shove everything in an email with no spaces or paragraphs. They have spaces and paragraphs. Use what you've learned, in Facebook, Instagram, email, and apply that to texting. And then, they have the link. Now, at least they're saying shop first, and they're giving some kind of instruction to click the link. So some good feedback there in terms of, line breaks. And, and I'm okay with like a short, really short. I would love a text message that has maybe 70 characters, 50 characters, but then the next one has to kind of, reverse that and shock and awe the consumer, so they go, oh, this looks interesting and new. Do not do, 140 characters every single time, no line breaks. All your message is going to look exactly the same. Okay, last one is Dunham's Sports. So interesting, they're mixing up. They're putting little stars at the start. Why not? It kind of grabbed my attention. Dunham's Labor Day sale. Now, they could definitely use line breaks here, because they're trying to almost do line breaks, but with the stars. But why not use the stars and a line break? I think that would look really cool. Up to 60% off, and then the dates, bonus 15 off one item. Again, huge right here. Do I click this to shop? Am I just, is this a coupon? I don't know what to do with that link. So you have to be very, very clear to the consumer. Click this to shop, or also, if they don't want them to shop online, be like, show this in store. Again, you can't assume the consumer knows what you want to do, what you want them to do as a brand. Then they have a lot of stuff at the bottom. I would put this stuff at the very, very bottom, put some line breaks, because it looks just really jumbled. Reply help for help. Again, it's not needed, but they're welcome to do that. Reply stop to opt out. That's needed at least once per month. And then message and data rates is definitely not needed. No one has ever required message and data rates in a mass message. You can put it in, I don't care, but I just think it takes away from the message. And you don't want to do that with so limited amount of characters. Again, my name is Derek Johnson. That is all the messages we have, and I'm almost out of time. So again, my name is Derek Johnson with Tatango.com, and you can find all these text messages at smsarchives.com. Thanks, everyone.